everyone, this is Kelly with C3 Workplace, and today we'll be discussing setting up rules in your inbox. So first, a little overview on why you would set up rules. Like most people, you probably find yourself getting overwhelmed with just the sheer amount of email you receive on a daily basis, the majority of which are usually not urgent matters. But in many instances, hitting unsubscribe isn't an option you can use. Sometimes we have e-letters that we like to browse, or company emails with useful information that you might want to get back to. Other times there are emails that you may be copied in on that you don't need to work on right away, but you can file away so that it's not in your inbox taking up space, and it's not visually taking up space in your mind or in your brain when you're looking at your inbox, which can be very stressful. Now, having rules set up is especially helpful if you're like me. I work best when I have a clean inbox and have only urgent matters living in that main inbox. Like I said, visually, if I have, hundreds and hundreds of emails in my inbox, it stresses me out because I feel like I don't know what's urgent. I'm not sure what I should be working on. It's a little overwhelming for me, and I find I work best when my inbox is clean. Obviously, this is just the test one. Mine is not as clean as this one, but I do only keep urgent or current things that I'm working on in my inbox. Other than that, other emails that are important but not urgent, or things or emails with information I need to keep, I file them away in folders. So as you'll see on the left side of my screen here, I have a filing system that works really well for me. And as always with these training videos, this is just an example of what you can do if you don't have a filing system, if you want to set one up. This is just an example. This is what works well for me. Doesn't mean it'll work well for you, but you need to figure out for yourself how to best set up your system, because otherwise the rules don't really make sense if you don't have some kind of filing system here. So, I have our Earn More program, I have emails for that, I have our clients, a whole client folder, internal is, my colleagues and all the C3 Workplace employees, and then miscellaneous office, Excel instructions or anything that is office related that you might need to be able to pull from really quickly. So rules are really helpful because it's basically a way to automatically file emails without you having to drag them over or go through them if you don't have the time to do that. You can create rules for certain emails, for certain senders. You can set them up to always file into a specific folder, or to delete, or to forward to someone else. There are a lot of different options and capabilities of the rule system, as you'll see shortly. So don't get overwhelmed. You really only need to focus on what you want and what you feel works best for you. So there are a few ways to do it. First, I'll show you there's a simple way that Outlook, again, and I'm doing this from Outlook. If you have other email systems, they have rules as well, which are pretty similar, so it shouldn't be too far off if you're using a different system. So if you want to do just a simple rule, you make sure the email is selected. And then if you're on the home, you come over here to Rules. And this is if you just want to always move messages from one sender to a specific folder. And you'll see they make it really simple. So if you just want to kind of throw it in somewhere, you just do it that way. There's a second, sort of like a second step of a little bit more in depth, but not as in depth as it can be, which is to create a rule. They have a lot of things already filled in for you. So they, if it's already from Kelly, or if it already has the subject name test, or if it's sent to just me, you have these options to put it in a folder or do whatever you want with it. So there's some options here that they sort of help you out a little. They kind of give you a few of the options beforehand, because you'll see the way I'm going to go into it next is doing it from scratch. So the third option here is Manage Rules and Alerts. Here is the dashboard. You'll see I have some rules already set up, and you can view them, whatever they are. You can change them, you can copy them, you can delete them. You can really just manage everything you have set up here. But what we're going to do here is just make a new rule. And there are a lot of options. So again, don't get overwhelmed. Just keep what just focus on what you need. There's a lot of things you probably won't need, like if you don't have RSS feeds or if things are flagged. It depends really on the best way for you to work. So we're just going to keep with move messages from someone to a folder. And it's simple to do. They really help you set this up without being completely overwhelming. So first is if an email is coming from a certain person or a public group. So you click that, or it's clicked, it's clicked for you. Just make sure it's clicked, or whatever other one you want. So if your name is in the to box, if it's flagged for action, if you're copied on it, there's a lot of different specifications that you can look over here and pick what works best for you. So the step 2 is to edit the rule. So here the rule is any email coming from Kelly Loro. So here in the from, if the person's not in your database, you have to type it out. So you put the email address in the from and hit OK, and you'll see here it's coming from me. And then here you want to move it to a specified folder. So you click on that, and here your inbox and all your folders, all your file folders will pop up. And you can, look and see what you've got. And I've created a folder specifically for this. So you hit there and hit OK. And now if you hit next, move it to the specified folder. We've got that. You can do other things here too. You can delete it. You can permanently delete it. You can move it to a copy. You can forward it to somebody. You can flag it. There's a lot of different options to do whatever works best for you, obviously. So you hit next. There's exceptions if you need. So for instance, if it's marked as important and you want to see that right away, you can do that. If someone is being copied, that say if your boss is being copied, it's like, well, let me make sure if so-and-so is in the CC that I get it right away so I don't forget about it. You hit next, and now you specify the name of it, whatever you want. And one of these really great functionalities of rules, a lot of people get overwhelmed because they come to us and they have thousands of emails in their inbox, and they say, I don't have the time to go through every single email I have and file them. However, rules are great because you have this option here where it says run this rule now on messages already in test. Now, if you were in your regular inbox and doing the rules, this would be inbox. So what you can do really is set up a rule and sort of retroactively apply it to all the emails you have. So it'll be able to just kind of do all the work for you. So you don't have to go through a million emails and try to put them in the proper folder. You turn it on, make sure it's on. We're going to do this, and you'll see this will automatically disappear and automatically go where it needs to go once you hit finish. So we know any email coming from Kelly will go into Kelly's emails folder. You press OK, and you'll see here nothing, the email I had left because we did the retroactive. We did anything that was already in there, we want it to go in there. So if we click on here, there's the email now. And one last tip is if you have as many subfolders, and if you're doing a lot of these rules and setting up things to not be in your inbox, be aware that you don't forget about the emails. And one of the tricks that we find works is if you have a specific folder that has important documents in it, but doesn't necessarily need to be looked at now, or you don't really need to look at it until there's an email in it. So you don't want to be spending time looking into folders if you don't need. So there's an option if you right click, if you go down to properties, you'll see here, right now it just shows number of unread items. So if I've read it, I won't know it's in there. When you have a rule set up, it will remain unread, which is good because you'll be able to see like, oh, I have 3 emails in here that got, sorted in here by the rules, so I'll have to go look. But if you also read them and they, and you don't necessarily need to go back to it yet, but you want to make sure you remember that they're in there, you do show total number of items, which is awesome because when you hit OK, now you see, oh, right, I have this email that I need to work on in here. I forgot that, I want to make sure that I don't forget that it's in there. So this is a way for you to be able to not be overwhelmed by your email inbox on a daily basis. It does take a slight amount of setup. I would suggest scheduling some time on your calendar, maybe an hour or two, to figuring out what works best in terms of the filing system, and then setting up the rules. And like I said, the rules can go retroactively, so it's really not as difficult as it may seem. It's not as daunting. And we promise you it will make a world of difference when you're able to log into your email and not be bombarded with, 300 unread emails this morning, and, you're trying to get your work done. But you just feel like your email inbox is too much for you. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on Outlook inbox rules, and we hope you come back for our next tutorial. Thank you.